This throughout Drogheda and further afield, and we stand on one principle and one principle only, and it is this: it is they who live here belong here. They who live here are here. We are the community. We are the community. There are some ignominious, disgraceful people sometimes ask us, whose streets are they? Well, I have an answer for them. They belong to the people here today. They belong to us. They're our streets. They don't belong to the far right. They don't belong to the fascists. They belong to the ordinary good citizens of Ireland. They belong to those of us who have never set fire to a house, who have never tried to burn a child, who have never tried to murder and to maim, and who do not celebrate such things. Today we have among us people from every single walk of life, from every single political persuasion, and putting aside my hat that would sometimes be critical of some of them, I wish to acknowledge the fact that last week when the most horrible, brutal thing that could have been done was done in this town. People with, for some reason, for some delusion, and I so pity their minds, for some reason they tried to perpetrate an act of such violence upon innocent children and their mothers, that had they been successful, this town would not have been famous as it should be for its kindness and its welcome, but would have been notorious for an act of terrorism, for an act of hate. And we must stand against those people. And I welcome and I applaud every single person here, every single political party, every single group that is there to stand out. That's every single one of them. As you will know, Drogheda for All were part of a coalition during the week that had a fund to help those people. It was an immediate fund, so it only stayed open for a few hours. Can I say to all the people here and to all the people of Drogheda, on behalf of Drogheda for All, thank you so much. Thank you. We thought we would raise a few €100 to get immediate necessities and to be clear with this so people understand the reality of what happened. 2 young families were left with only the clothes on the back. Think about that, it was the wee hours of the morning. That means there were children in the pyjamas with no clothes. There were a mother who'd recently only given birth, who herself was in frailty, right, with nothing but the clothes on her back. They were left that way because people thought it would be justified to burn them out of their home.
Shame!
Shame!
But when that happened, we thought we would try to raise some money. We honestly thought we'd raise a few €100. Within hours, we were up towards €3,000. What an amazing gesture of kindness by the people of this town. Does that not speak volumes of what this town is about? Does that not speak volumes of a community and the community that we all belong to? Because that is what we are a community. And it's time we remember that. And it's time we stopped letting people scare us away from our streets. It's time we stopped listening to the fear and the fearmongers. There is a simple fact. In our time, we needed help in our lives, be it back in the famine or since. And that help was given to us. Great nations came to our aid, just as we should go to theirs. And we should never be ashamed of that. And we should never let anyone steal that narrative and change it into something else. Because it is quite simple. We open our doors to those who need our help. We always have. We always did. The last time anyone tried to burn Drogheda down, his name was Cromwell. And we all know the story. Who wants to be associated to that? Who wants to be associated to that horror, to that rottenness? Certainly not me, certainly not the good people of this town. I stand here now talking on behalf of D for All. I will in a while speak in a slightly different capacity. But for now I just want to say this, that we in Drogheda for All, we belong to a coalition of groups across Ireland, and support we found from them in recent days was quite fantastic. It was quite amazing. If you go onto the internet, despite the pylons and so forth to the far right, their attempts to steal the narrative, this time they haven't been able to. Because let's call a spade a spade. Communities build homes, they don't burn them down. that is what communities do. We can differ in our politics, we can differ in our arguments. I know people here today that I know quite well that would disagree very strongly with me. But you know something? I've never threatened them and they've never threatened me. We don't have to. We don't have to. We can meet as equals. Because I said it earlier to the other one, I'll say it here again. We have a freedom in this country. We have a freedom that we can stand up and we can be counted and we can speak. Democracy isn't only a ballot box. Democracy is this. Democracy is that we stand and we stand together. And we tell the world, because the world is watching Ireland right now, we tell them that we are a welcoming nation. That the island of celebration, the island of love, the island of Céad Míle Fáilte is alive and well. It is here today, it is here now, and I am so proud of my town. I am so proud of my town. I will finish this piece with one brief observation. Because I know here today there are people from Catu. About a year and a half ago, Catu shoot a film in this town, a film about the rent strikes that happened a little over 50 years ago. And I want to draw attention to this, because just over 50 years ago, in this town, a tenants association ran almost exclusively by trade unionists, by good men and women, members of the trade unions, took a stand against the housing crisis that had developed, the rotten rents, the theft, the evictions, the constant belittling of the working class, the constant belittling of those people to keep them in poverty. They made a stand just over 50 years ago, and they were so successful. They were so successful that the only thing the state could do was try and write it out of history. And now, 50 years on, we have to make the same stand again. Because we are in the middle of a housing crisis. We are in the middle of 1,000 crises, all created by the same demon that created the crisis 50 years ago. That is the mindless, blind capitalism that allows government ministers to push down upon immigrants and migrants and people seeking shelter in this country, to push down and try to lay the blame on them for their failings. Shame on them. And when they do so, whether they like it or not, this is an uncomfortable truth, they enable the kind of ugly violence that we saw in this town last Friday night. On a Halloween night when children should have been going to bed with soot in their faces and makeup, carrying the little masks. There were a group of children in this town that were terrified, screaming and crying, and had to be rescued from flames. Had to be rescued. And that is created by those who make space for intolerance, that make space for hatred, that allow that to become a norm, that allow that to be spoken word. Once upon a time we used to ask, what are you scared to say? We used to ask it. We don't have to ask anymore, because they've been given too much free rein and they say it too loudly. So it's time we took up our voices and we spoke too. And it's time people start talking about this throughout this town as well. We are not a town of hatred, we're a town of welcome. We are a town of communities. We are a good town, we're full of good people, and you're all here today. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite our local TV, John Nash, to say a few words, if you don't mind.